So in this part, we are continuing our database part. Last time we discussed how we model database, especially focusing on relational databases. So under that, we discuss, given a database requirement, we collect a description of data, and based on that, we can use different modeling techniques. And the first thing that we discussed is ER model, where we see everything as entities and relationships. So we discussed what an entity is, and then we also identify relationships. Then we combine relationships with entities and identify different constraints. So that's what we covered last time. So today's session, we are going to focus on now from conceptual model to logical model, we call it, that how do you map the relational data model into a relational data model? Or we can create database schema. So that's exactly what my topic for today is. So we'll start first with the mapping part. And once we finish that, as I have promised last time, we will start with different descriptions and we'll create a relation model, and then we'll create a schema, database schemas based on data model. Right. So let's continue with today's session then. Now, given that mapping part, we need some method to start with. So the steps, given you have a ER diagram, let's look at what are the steps to convert this to a relational schema. First step, you first look at regular entities, right? And then we'll map them. Second, we map any weak entities. Third, we map one-to-one relations, one-to-many relations, many-to-many relations. Next, we map any multi-valued attributes. Right. So those are the steps we are going to find out. Small question from you. Okay, how many regular entity types are here? Right? So given this ER diagram, can you tell me how many regular entity types are there? Yes, Rushantini, how many regular entity types are in this diagram? Prasad? Akshana? Minoli? Sitara? Okay. So there are two answers I got, Rishantini and Lakshana is like 4 regular. Okay, this is the problem. There are 4 entity types: employee, department, project, and dependent. But we have only 3, right? Regular entity types. And dependent is a weak entity type. So why we say this is a weak entity type? Okay, for employee, department, and project, we can clearly identify their key attributes. So we have social security number, name and number, they are all unique to these entities. Therefore, these 3 are known as regular entity types. But dependent, the name is not a key attribute, it's called a partial key. Therefore, to make this unique, you have to have an identifying relationship. That's why we have double lines here, which indicates that it is identifying relation. So the first one, we need to know how many regular entity types are. The correct answer is there are 3 regular entity types. Then it will give you the answer for the second one, how many weak entity types. Okay, we have 1 weak entity type. Okay, so let me ask another question. How many one-to-one relations are in this diagram? How many one-to-one relations are there? Yes, Prashantini said 1. What about the others? My question is, how many one-to-one relations are there? Okay, I got 2 answers, 3 answers. Good. What about the others? Okay, so you have 1, right? So 1 to 1. So what do you mean by 1 to 1 here? Can somebody give me the answer? What do you mean by 1 to 1 here? Why we say this is 1 to 1 relation? Some simple explanation? Yes, Prasad? Why this manager's relationship type is 1 to 1? What do you mean by 1 to 1 here? Okay, if you take a particular employee, let's say you take an employee can manage maximum of 1 department. Take a department, how many managers you can have? Only 1. Therefore, this is called 1 to 1 relation. Okay, second one. How many 1 to many relations are here? How many 1 to many? Yes, exactly. We will have 4 1 to many relations, right? Okay, that's the first step. How many to many relations are here? How many to many? Okay. Yes, we have only 1 many to many relation between employee and the project. What means employee can work for many projects. Project can have many employees. Okay, good. I hope now you have a clear idea. Okay, how many multi-valued attributes are there? How many multi-valued attributes are there? Again, just 1. How many derived attributes? Again, 1. How many composite attributes? Okay, name is a composite. You have three parts. Okay, good. I think we are good to go. Now, this is the ER diagram. This is the conceptual model. What we are supposed to do next is to create a logical diagram, which is this one, based on the previous. So you will get the ER diagram. Then this is the relational diagram, which you have relations, primary keys, and foreign key relations. So that's what we need to do. Given this, we are supposed to come up with this. I'm going to talk about what are the steps. I hope you are clear about what we are going to do. Okay, let's discuss how do you map regular entity types. Now, when I say regular, all regular entity types, you have at least one key attribute. So the first task we need to do is for each entity E, we have to create a relation. Again, for each regular entity, we have to create a relation. That's all what we need to do. First one. So that means employee, we have to create a simple relation, include all the simple attributes. Then the department, get all the simple attributes. Yes, project, all three, we have to create relations. So we can say employee, department, and project. Okay, this is different, so we'll keep this aside. So each of these regular entity type, we create a relations. Then choose one of the key attributes of E as a primary key for R. So remember, I discussed this earlier as well. In the ER diagram, you can have as many attributes. But in this case, we are going to select a particular attribute and then we name as primary key. So remember, any relation, you can have only one, primary key. So what happens? So here we have one key attribute, here two, here two, here only one, just partial. But then you have to select one of these, put it as the primary key, not both. Here also the same. Either you can select name or number. So it's up to you to make that decision. Right. Now we discuss how to map regular type, how to map weak entity type. So when it comes to weak entity type, what happens? Again, similar to previous, you include all the simple attributes. And then foreign key attributes from primary key of the relation, that's to the own entity type. The primary key of R is the combination of primary keys of the owners and partial key of weak entity type W, if any. Right. So simply put, what we need to do for even for weak entity type, you have to create a relation, but then you have to get so weak entity type we were discussing. So you don't have a primary key. What you have is a partial key. So you will get it from identifying relationship, that their key attribute will be the primary key for the weak entity type as well. So if I go back to my note, so you can see here, we have two attributes, right? And then you select one of them as a primary key. Okay, now we finish discussing one-to-one. And then when you have weak entity types, again, you create a relation, but you have to get down a primary key from the employee. Right. Let's move to the next one. Okay, we learn how to mapping regular entity. Here we talk about entering weak entity types. Right. Now let's switch to relations. Now, when you have relations, there are many relations you can have. One-to-one means both participating entities, you will have only maximum of one instance. Right. There are a couple of approaches we can follow if you have one-to-one relation. For any relation, you can use a foreign key approach, which means you look for a common attribute for any two tables and then you select it. And we call it's a foreign key. So two conditions should be satisfied. One is and then you have merge relation approach. If you have total participation in both ends, you can think of merge in the relation. Third one, cross-reference, relationship relation approach. So simply you can go for foreign key approach, merge solution approach, cross-reference approach. So if you look at one-to-one relation, so employee manages department. So let's say we are going to use foreign key approach. Where do you think we should put the foreign key? Is it to the employee side or is it to the department side? Yes? Okay. Let me explain now. In this one, we have one-to-one relation. So in one-to-one, I told you there are a couple of scenarios. One is you can go for foreign approach. Now, foreign key approach means you look at a common attribute and you keep it in both ends so that you can use it to map it. Second one, you can merge. Third one, you can create a separate relation. So the best would be depend on the situation. Right now, we cannot manage, merge. So one-to-one relation, for example, here, best way is go for foreign relation. Now, when you say foreign relation, or foreign key approach, there are two sides. Now, employee side, we have a primary key, that is social security number. Department side, let's say department number. So you can keep, or you can have social security number, you can put it in the department side, or you can get department number, you can put it in the employee side. So the question, which one is more sensible or useful in this particular case? Okay, if you do not understand, maybe I can use the board just to write down what I'm trying to explain. Now, this is a regular entity type, right? So we can say employee. And we can include all the simple attributes: social security number, name, first name, middle initial, last name, right? Then we can have gender, then address, salary, and birthday, right? So this is not the end, so I will put 3 dots. So this is how you may create a relation, right? Now, similar to that, I can go to department side. So I can say department. We can have department name. I will put D name, department number. Okay, location is multi-valued, so we can't do anything about it. Now my question is, to which side I should put? So the right now we have like 2 primary keys. Let's say the primary key is social security and then the department name. So either we can put department name here or social security number here. My question is, which one is the best given this situation? Given this situation, what is the best one? Okay, you put social security number in the department side. Is it what you are suggesting? So that means you put social security number here. One suggestion would be you can put social security number here. That is one way. The other one is you put department name here. Let's say putting social security number is 1. Then we get putting department name in this is 2. Right? Let's say this is 2. Everyone tell me which one is the best. Put in department number for each employees or put in social security number in each department. Yes. You can argue for both, but my question is which one is the best? So this is manager's department, right? 1-to-1. And this is partial, this is total. So we need to put in the total side. Otherwise, what will happen, right? This will, you have a lot of empty values. So therefore, the best place to put social security number is the department side. So this is the correct answer, and this is not. Right? So that's what I actually trying to explain it to you in one-to-one. So one-to-many, it's always inside. So one-to-many, so department number is a primary key. So you get a copy of the primary key, put it inside, so that you can easily manage one-to-many relations. Right. Let's go back to the theory again. So we discussed each of the mapping, one-to-one mapping. There are 3 approaches. Then mapping one-to-many. For each one-to-many relation, you look at the inside, right? And then foreign key in the relation T, other entity type R. So in one-to-many, I told you, you look at inside, right? Then you get a foreign key in S is the primary key of the relation T, right? And then when you have look into include attributes, you have to use relation type as attribute of S. So which means if you go back to my, so there are a couple of one-to-many. So we have one-to-many relation here. So the best thing would be like putting, yes, department number would be better from this side. Similar to that, department controls projects. Inside is this, you get the department number for each project. Now we can identify what the department is. Okay, shall we move to the next one then? So we discuss about regulated types, weak entity types, one-to-one, one-to-many. The last one is many-to-many relation. So in many-to-many relation, what you need to know is better you always create a new relation. If you have many-to-many relation, then you create separate relation. Then you include both primary keys as foreign keys so that you make the combination to combine it to the primary key of S. Any attributes, if you have in the relations also, you put it here. Now this is called a relationship relation. Right. So now to explain what we discussed just there, if you have many-to-many relation, you create a separate relation called works on. And then you include both the registration number and the project number. Then we'll make it a 1. Right. Now that we have discussed about one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many, right? Then we can look for multi-valued attribute. So some attribute you can have multiple values, like in a car, usually nowadays, if you say color attribute, you can have multiple colors. Right. Okay, so let's move on. Main relation, and then we have multi-value attribute. Now, if you look at, go to the branches. So sorry, department. You have locations. That means department can have multiple locations. That's what this means. So you can check this. So multi-value attribute, you can create a separate relation. You include all the attributes correspond to A plus the primary key attribute of K as a foreign key in R of the relation that represent the entire type of relationship has an attribute. So what it means, when you have multiple values, you create a separate or new relation. Right. Then primary key, since you actually extend in this, the primary key of R is a combination of A and K. Right. So that's how we map it. So to finish our discussion, here are some factors or glossary items we have used. In the ER modeling world, we discuss entity types, but relational model, we have entity relation. So ER model, one-to-one, one-to-many relationship. You have foreign keys, many-to-many relationship type, related to transaction to foreign. Then we will have attributes, some of component attributes, relation and foreign key, domain, and then primary key. So those are the concepts that you should get familiar with ER modeling, that is conceptual modeling, to come out. Okay, so with that said, we conclude our first half of today's session. So second half, we are going to work as groups. So we have only 5 today. So I'm going to make it a group of 2 groups. And I'll share you a small description. And I want you to first draw the ER diagram, then the mapping, right? So that's what we are going to do. So first of all, let's create 2 breakout rooms where you will be asked to move from this place to any other place. Okay, I hope you can hear me. So I'm going to share you like two descriptions, and you take these two descriptions to come up with the ER diagram first, and then we'll discuss your implementation individually. And once you implement it, then we'll transform into relation schema. So that's the plan. So having said that, let me share. So I will put some. So today's one, what we discuss is how you may convert ER diagram like this into a logical diagram like this, which consists of schemas, right? So as a summary, we discuss each of the regular entity types. We create relations. We have employee, we have department, we have project. And we select one of the key attributes as primary key. So social security number is primary key of employee, department number primary key of department, project number primary key of project. Then we will also map weak entity type, in this case dependent. We create a separate relation, and then together with the dependent name and social security number, we combine, that is identify relation with the employee, combine in the two, we create the primary key for this. Then we map one-to-one relations. So managers, employee managers department. So this is total participation. This side, we get employee number, put in the department side. So if you go to department, you can see manager social security number, which is make the connection of managing the department. And then we also include manager start date, because there was a start date, we need to map it here. Then we look for one-to-many relations. So first one is department. You will have many employees. So inside is department number, we have to put employee side. So the department number we included here to make that connection inside. Similar to that, department controls many projects. So project side, you can see the department number. We use a foreign key approach there. Then one-to-many between the employees, supervise other employees. For this, we used supervisor social security number, which reference the same social security number to indicate that. Last one is many-to-many relations. We create separate relation, works on include both the primary keys. Combining it will create a primary key for works on. Include this number of hours. So works on, you combine both primary keys to create the primary key for works on and the number of hours. The last one is multi-value attribute locations. So we create a separate relation department locations. And then we know that department location to get the department number will create the primary key for this. Okay, so that's all what I wanted to discuss today's session. I hope you have understood that part well. And this is, I will take it as the first assignment of the module. So I will have a submission link. So each one of you in the each one you individually you can submit the work. It could be the same sheet that you prepared as a group work, but you have to separately submit. Okay. So I put up the link in the LMS for the submission as the assignment 1. So include both ER diagram and the logical diagram. Right, that's all what I have for the today's session. If you have any questions, I can answer now.